Hi everyone, thanks for coming along or tuning in to this little chat. This is for the Latrobe University Nursing Group going to Nepal 8th of September. My name's Will. I'm working with Projects Abroad. We're the organisation helping Latrobe University organise the overseas placements. I'm down here in Adelaide. Along with me today, I've got my colleague Duncan, who has recently been working in Nepal for Projects Abroad, so he's going to give us some insights and day-to-day living there and just things you need to remember. And we've also got Nicole with us today, who is one of the academic staff leading the group, so she'll be there for the first group starting 1st of September and also for the second group, you guys starting on 8th of September. And then hopefully we may have Ron joining us a little bit later, who's also one of the academics who'll be supporting this group for 8th of September as well. So thanks a lot for tuning in. I'll get on with things, and hopefully you can see on the screen now just some of the stuff I want to go over today. I want to talk initially a bit of housekeeping around things, around about your flights and accommodation arrangements and stuff. I'm going to hand over to Duncan then, who'll talk about your first few minutes in Nepal, getting a visa, getting through and negotiating the chaos at Kathmandu airport, and then get into the hotel and getting settled down and having your first look around Nepal. I'll then talk a bit through the schedule, so day to day, what to expect at the placements, where you'll be going, what you'll be doing, and then I'll pass on again to Duncan to talk about packing and clothing and food, money, stuff like that. And then Nicole will be joining in at various points to offer her opinion on things and a few tips and ideas, and maybe just talk about what her expectations might be of the group and you as students. So yeah, we've got a little questions box on your control panel you should be able to see. You can type in any questions there, but of course you've always got the email or LMS or Facebook group to add things to as well. Cool. So first things first, my little bit to start with. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for sending in your flight details. We've got all of those confirmed now, and our staff will be waiting for you all at the airport, whatever time of the day or night that you arrive. I have sent out an email today with just a request to confirm any extra accommodation you want our guys to book. So if there are any changes to that information which I sent you out in the email, please let me know as soon as possible. And just a reminder or a request, if you have any dietary requirements that you think you might not have communicated to us, please let me know. Then our staff can plan for that. And also in the same vein, if there are any medications that you're taking or any medical conditions which you feel are worth disclosing, and the scenario for this is partly for insurance purposes. So if you did get sick, for example, down to a pre-existing condition, often that might be a loophole for insurance companies not to pay your medical costs, so it's as well to declare that firsthand. The other thing is if there are any conditions or medications which our staff would need to know about, if they are the ones communicating to a medical professional there with you requiring treatment that might complicate your treatment, we need to know about that. So it's all confidential, of course, but please just consider if you think there's anything you feel you should disclose to us on that front. It's for your own safety and well-being as much as anything. The final thing I just wanted to talk about was your insurance. Now, my understanding is you've all lodged your travel plans with Latrobe Abroad, which means that you'll be covered by the Latrobe University travel insurance, and this will extend to cover your personal travel as well, outside of placement dates. I believe that goes up to 10 days extra. If you're traveling for any longer than that, please check with Latrobe Abroad to see if you've got cover that extends for the full length of you being away, because if anything goes wrong, it'll go wrong on the days that you're not covered. And if you want to chat about the insurance tool, let me know. The Projects Abroad will also have a policy in place for you for the duration of the placement, so you'll have 2 lots of cover there. If it's a medical condition, then our staff would probably use our insurance policy to start paying for things because that's the one they're familiar with. And comes to getting approval for any payments to the hospital, for example, they can do it much more quickly by going through our policy, which they're familiar with. If it's a matter of a loss, for example, and you need a police report for that, then our staff will get that for you. They'll help you with that. But you might just then have a look at which insurance policy, either ours or the Latrobe policy, offers the smallest excess that you need to pay and the highest amount that you might be able to claim. So that's something you've got a little bit more time to look at. Any insurance questions, please do let me know. But for most of you, I think you won't have to worry about booking any extra insurance. It's all taken care of for you. Okay, that's my boring little housekeeping bits sorted out. The other thing is just keep in touch, please. You know, it's a week or so before we'll go away. So you'll, if you have any questions at all, just keep firing in the emails, put something up on the Facebook group. If you learn anything you think other people would find useful, stick it on the Facebook group as well. And I'm sure everyone will be pretty grateful for that. Right, that's enough from me for now. I'll be speaking again a little bit later. I'm going to hand over to Duncan, who, like I say, only this week has come back from 2 months working in Nepal. So he's got a good grasp of day-to-day living there. He's going to talk through a few of the little things you need to be prepared for on arrival, and I'll catch up with you to talk about schedule after Duncan's little piece. Thanks.
Hi everyone, and thanks very much, Will. So yeah, as Will mentioned, only a few days ago I returned back from Nepal after working with our operations team there for a few months. I'm pretty excited that Will asked me to chat with you guys, because I'm pretty keen to chat about my experience in Nepal with anyone that will listen. I had a fantastic time there. It's got a special place in my heart, and I'm sure for you guys heading over there, it'll leave a lasting impression on you as well. So I'm just going to go over some of the day-to-day things and kind of how I experience them over there, and kind of my general transition into my short stay there. So you can see on the screen currently is the airport in Kathmandu there. It looks pretty crazy. It can get kind of crazy as well. It's not actually very big, but there's a lot of people there, of course. But it is quite easy to navigate. As well. You won't have any troubles getting through. I believe Will's mentioned to me that most of you will be getting your visas on arrival. This is what I did as well. Kind of maybe a little bit stressful, thinking, oh, what if they don't let me in, or how do I go about it? It's super easy. As soon as you get off the plane, you'll be directed into the immigration terminal there. You'll be directed to some machines where you just put in some of your details. And then it'll spit out a little ticket, and you'll go over to the counter and you'll pay, depending on how long you're staying. So I think for all of you, it's a 2-week stay, so you'll be able to get your 15-day visa. That's $30 US. It is quite simple to pay in US dollars, but I think Aussie dollars are fine as well. They'll just do kind of a rough currency conversion there, and you can pay in Aussie dollars as well. If you can get your hands on some US dollars, it does tend to make it a little bit easier, but I wouldn't stress too much. So the whole process of getting your visa and actually entering into Nepal, it's not hard, but it can be a little bit lengthy, a little bit time consuming. So just be patient. It's a busy airport, of course, so there's going to be a lot of people coming through. Once you get through immigration, you'll need to exit the airport. You'll exit around to the left, and you'll be finding our staff, or rather they'll be finding you. It's not hard to spot them, okay? They'll be holding a big sign saying Prince Hotel, I believe, and it'll be pretty obvious as well that you're the group coming. So they'll find you, no stress there at all. Inside the airport, I'm not exactly sure how they get in, but there will be the occasional person there offering you like a taxi or to carry your bags or something like that. You can just walk straight past them. If they do offer to carry your bags, they're going to take them to wherever you need and then ask you for some money for doing so. So just avoid that and just carry your own bags. It's very, very close to the van that'll be picking you guys up. So we've got the local contact phone numbers in the handbook. So we'll send these around again before you go. If you just want to change there, I'll talk about the accommodation, which is where we'll take you straight after we pick you up. It's very, very simple, I promise. If anyone's a little bit concerned about the arrival procedure, getting the visa or anything like that, please do let us know. But I promise you it's very simple. So the accommodation in Kathmandu is going to be at Prince Hotel. Prince staff are almost just an extension of Projects Abroad staff by now. We've been using them for years. They're some of the friendliest people I've ever met. I've got a bunch of them on Facebook as well that I'm still regularly in contact with. It's a really nice place. It's not luxury by any means, but you also have your own bed, you'll have a fan, you'll have running water, a Western toilet, you'll have all the necessities. So you will be comfortable, but of course, please don't expect to be staying in luxury. It's in a good spot as well. It's just on the edge of Tamil. Tamil is the main kind of tourist and shopping district there, so it's just a 5-minute walk into there, so it's quite a good spot there. Just back to the Prince Hotel, I'll just chat a little bit about the Wi-Fi situation there. It does have Wi-Fi, and so does the hotel in Pokhara, Thewa, that you'll be staying at. However, it can be a little bit unreliable. So the electricity system in Nepal is a bit chaotic, and they do experience frequent blackouts as well, which of course does disrupt the Wi-Fi. So you can get by just using the Wi-Fi in the hotels. But what I usually recommend is if you want to pick up a local SIM card, I think it's usually a pretty good idea. All you need to do is unlock your phone. So just go to your mobile provider, whether that's Telstra or Optus or whoever it is, and just say that you're traveling overseas, and if you can make sure your phone's unlocked. That way you can pick up a SIM card in Nepal. It only costs, it's about 250 rupees for the actual SIM card, and then you can get a data package for only about another 250 rupees. So for a total of about 500 to 600 rupees, which is the equivalent of about $7 Australian, you can have a SIM card with mobile data. It's 4G as well. It's surprisingly quick. Often it was actually better than the Wi-Fi. So while we say it's not necessary to pick up a local SIM card, I would recommend it, especially considering it's going to cost you less than $10 anyway. At the hotel, regarding security, it's very secure. It's got high fences the whole way around. During the evenings, it's going to have a security guard there at the front as well. This is for both hotels, so when you're up in Pokhara as well. There's places available in the hotel to lock up your valuables as well. Obviously, all your rooms will have a lock on them, and you'll be given a key as well. So everything will be quite secure. So in Tamil, you can see the picture there on the screen. It's pretty busy, it's pretty chaotic. There's a lot of people there, obviously that's where all the tourists are. That's also where a lot of the kind of merchants are trying to sell you things as well. So it can be a little bit kind of intimidating, a little bit overwhelming. There's a lot of people, a lot of local people coming up to you and trying to sell you things or get your business, or asking where are you from, what are you doing here. It's safe. It's perfectly safe there, and you feel free to just kind of ignore these people as well. In fact, I would recommend that. It's not really the Australian culture when someone comes up and says, how are you going? What's your name? What are you here for? Normally, you just want to say, my name's Duncan. I'm from Australia. Blah blah blah. These people are trying to sell you things, so it's perfectly okay just to keep walking and walk straight past them. At no point are they actually a threat to your safety. Sometimes they can kind of grab you on the arm just to try and get your attention. They're not going to harm you in any way. It's just they're just trying to sell you some things. So Tamil is safe to walk around, especially during the day. Even at the night time as well, it is quite well lit up. We wouldn't recommend being out too late, of course, and just general common sense is to walk around in groups as well where possible. But yeah, there's no cause for concern within Tamil. It's got quite a safe feel about it. So I've just got a little note here to describe the hotel in Pokhara as well. It's the Thewa Hotel. Pokhara is probably one of my favorite places on this entire planet. It's based along the lake there. It's the Thewa Lake, hence the name of the hotel, Thewa Hotel. And it's got a much more relaxed vibe than Kathmandu. Kathmandu is chaotic. There's traffic everywhere. There's people everywhere. There's quite a bit of pollution everywhere. Pokhara is not quite as busy. It's far more touristy as well. But the hotel there is very, very similar to Prince Hotel in Kathmandu. Again, the Wi-Fi is there. It works most of the time. It's clean and comfortable without being luxurious. So I'll just move on to the weather, if we want to change the slide there. So you're going at a pretty good time. We're just coming out of the super hot season, the rainy season. So it's going to be kind of, I think I'll let Will describe, and Nicole as well, a little bit about the clothing there. But it is the rainy season as well as being the hot season, so you're going to want to pack an umbrella with you as well. And most of the time you'll be getting around in kind of knee-length shorts and probably a t-shirt as well. You'll see that there in September with kind of the average temperature is coming down a little bit from June, July, and August there, and also the rainfall there as well down at the bottom. You'll see it's coming out of the rainy season too, but still expect a little bit of rain. So moving on to the packing list there. Now I think you all should have received this email as well. I think it's also in the handbook, but I'll just go through some of the things that you do need there. So we do recommend you bring like a small day pack or like a rucksack as well as your main suitcase, because you want to take some things with you day to day. You want to take water. Of course, the water in Nepal is not safe to drink from the tap, so we always recommend you have your water bottle with you, your camera and some money and that sort of thing, as well as an umbrella. Always good things to carry with you at all times. So yeah, make sure you bring like a little day pack as well. Towel is quite important. They're usually provided at the hotel, but it's a good idea just to bring one with you, in case it starts, absolutely belting down with rain or for whatever reason. And then there's the umbrella that I mentioned as well. Something that I don't really consider too much is I don't usually bring an umbrella with me many places I go, but in Nepal I was very, very thankful I had one, because it will just start raining and raining heavily. It'll keep raining for about 10 minutes and then it'll be gone, but it's long enough to make sure you're completely saturated. So you'll be very glad if you bring your umbrella. ATM card and travel card. I'll talk about money a little bit later, but Visa and MasterCards are accepted in the ATMs that we go to. It's very, very easy to get money out. There is a fee that comes with it. It's around about $5 or $6 per transaction. So you want to kind of limit that as much as you can. But at the same time, most of your stuff is already included. I might let Will talk a little bit more about what extra money you might need, but I'll be surprised if you have to withdraw more than, maybe 2 times whilst you're there. Camera as well. Chances are you're going to take a lot of photos, of course, and bring an extra SD card with you. They're kind of expensive in Nepal, so try and grab them here. The torch and the flashlight. The power cuts, as I mentioned before, they happen regularly. I mean, most people just have a flashlight on their phone. Not a bad idea to bring another torch as well, just in case your phone is flat, because of course, if the power is out, you're not going to be able to charge it either. I'm not sure if it's on here, but battery packs as well. I brought about 3 extra power banks when I went, and I was very, very glad that I did, because it was super helpful to make sure my phone was always fully charged. A plug adapter as well. They use the European style adapter. Most places, you'll see when you get there, but the sockets are quite strange. They're actually suitable for quite a few different types of plugs. I used my American one, actually. The 2 little points in that one as well would work, as long as the European adapter too. You can get adapters there. Not a bad idea to pick up one here though. If you pick up one here and then you also bring an Australian power board as well, you'll be set for pretty much the entire time. So if we change onto the next one there, Will. Books and card games for journeys. There'll be a lot of downtime, just when you're kind of not on your phone and that sort of stuff as well. There won't be any internet if you're heading up to Pokhara, for example, on the bus ride there. So it's good to take books to read during the downtime. And also, if any of you do want to bring donations, I believe, I'm not too familiar with the schedule. I'll let Will worry about that. But I think you are spending a bit of time with children, and donations are always quite well received. So books and that sort of things are very, very handy at the placements. This is a good one, actually, a diary in the journal there. I didn't keep a journal while I was there, and I really wish I did, because some of the memories will kind of slip through. So not a bad idea just to note down what you did each day. Bring photocopies of the most important documents, so your passport as well. Keep one in your day pack, keep one in your luggage, keep one in your wallet. If you do lose your passport, it just makes it so much easier to work everything out if you do have a scanned copy of your passport. Also your travel cards as well. Also, here's a bit about the spending money too. $300, even that would probably, in my opinion, be probably more than enough. It just depends how crazy you plan to go with souvenirs. I myself, I bought quite a few, and I probably wouldn't have even spent that much in the 2 months that I was there. But yeah, maybe that's a good kind of target to aim for. The passport size photos are important if you're obtaining the visa on arrival, and then also to get a local SIM card as well, you also need a passport size photo. You can get that done while you're there, but it's just easier to bring them with. Now with the clothes, what I might do is I might skip over that because I'm not sure the exact dress code that the university is setting for that one. So I'll let Will and Nicole discuss that one. Toiletries are pretty self-explanatory, but also remember sunscreen. You will burn in the sun there. I certainly burnt. Insect repellent, it's not so bad in Kathmandu, but in Pokhara it becomes a bit more important. Hand sanitizer, yeah, definitely bring that. You'll use it a lot more than you might expect. Baby wipes and wet wipes and tissues as well, very important. In terms of first aid, you can pick up most things over there as well, but it is quite often easier just to bring them with you. For example, the rehydration salts like your hydrolyte and that sort of thing, you can get it there, but it generally doesn't taste very good. The stuff that you can pick up here, like I just took a few different flavors of the hydrolyte and they taste a lot better and they do the same job. And then some of your kind of general first aid there as well. The one thing I want to mention there was the anti-nausea tablets. When we say we'll be traveling along some pretty bumpy roads, we're not kidding. The road from Kathmandu to Pokhara, they call it a highway. It's a very interesting interpretation of a highway. It's very, very bumpy. And so if you do suffer from any form of travel sickness, please do bring anti-nausea tablets. Cool, so I think I'll probably hand back over to Will for now. I'll speak again in a little bit, but yeah, for now, over to Will.
Thanks, Duncan. We'll hear a bit more from Duncan in a little while. Before we move on to the next little bit, which will be about the schedule, your itinerary, I might just invite Nicole to add a few words, and perhaps, Nicole, we could also talk a bit about the dress code that you would hope for from the students, and we'll talk about some of the other clothing that might be useful to pack.
Sure. Hi all. It'll be a fabulous opportunity. I'm very much looking forward to meeting you all. It'll be a great opportunity great learning opportunity to go to Nepal and yeah, all of the fantastic. I can't even speak properly. Sorry, guys. All the fantastic things that we're going to be doing while we're away. With regards to the uniform, we do need you to wear uniform on some of the occasions when we attend some of the locations. But it's more about smart casual kind of gear. It's also about being culturally sensitive as well. So please avoid wearing those really skimpy shorts. So we're wanting to wear knee length shorts or slacks, as well as t-shirts that actually cover your shoulders, please. Again, it's about being culturally sensitive and appropriate. What am I thinking? So I suppose it's going to be a very interesting experience for many. And I suppose my words of wisdom for the whole experience is it's not right, it's not wrong, it's just different. So, you might have some really bizarre and want to make everything better. It's the way it is, and so we just need to go with it. And I think that's about me, Will. Sorry. I'm just finding it difficult to find words right now.
No worries, Nicole. Plenty of time for you to jump in. Thanks a lot for that. Right, so yeah, just following on from Nicole, just quickly on the clothing. So yeah, uniform's important. We'll be going to 3 different hospitals. So I think you want to look like a team, look like you are nursing students, look like belong there. So those will be the days when it's a little bit more formal. All the other placements, like Nicole says, a bit more smart casual. Bear in mind, if we're going to be doing first aid training at some of the schools or some, you might spend time sat on the floor. So you'll wear something that's practical. So, sort of cargo pants, leggings, I guess. Polo shirts, t-shirts, long sleeves and stuff. As long as your shoulders are covered, your knees are covered, that's generally the way to go. And you'll find like pretty much all the Nepalese women you come across will be dressed in saris. So it's quite a conservative dressed place for females to dress. But bear in mind it's going to be warm, humid. You're going to be certainly on the placement days where if you're at schools or outreach days, then you'll be sat on the floor, you'll be doing strange things. So you want something that's practical, so comfortable, practical, and respectful as well is the way to go. And if you can balance those three, you're probably onto a good thing. All right, so just looking at the schedule, it's pretty busy. We're trying to take you to as many different types of placements as we can, and I guess the overall message is it's a bit of a mix of sort of observing and learning and asking and doing as well at some of the other centres. So just looking, I just briefly go through these things. I'm happy to answer a lot more questions in depth, via Facebook and emails and stuff like that. But I don't want this thing to go on for a couple of hours. So let's start at the top. So we want you, whenever you're arriving, we want you to be at the at the hotel by that Sunday, the 8th, so we can all gather in there and perhaps have dinner together and have a chat. Our local guys can be going through the schedule and plans for the Monday, and then Nicole will be there and she can be chatting to you about, well, she'll have been there for a week or so already, so she'll be able to help you bed in as well. She'll have had a week's worth of experiences and will have been to a lot of the placements as well with the first group. So that'll be great just to get that initial briefing and everybody just to sort of, I guess, put their eyes back in their sockets after they've been walking around with them on stalks for the previous few hours walking around Tamil, and just get yourself sorted out. First day we're going to go to a local hospital in Kathmandu, not a huge hospital, but it's got quite a few different interesting departments. It's very close to nursing college as well, so we wanted to go over there and see how, meet some of the nursing students there, see about the equivalent, your peers over there, how they do things. And at the hospital, be splitting up and going around a few different wards and just having a look. You'll find some things quite obvious, the level of resources will be much lower, levels of hygiene, I think you'll find are going to be quite different. A lot of the practices you see, and even the way nursing is practiced there, a lot of their tasks, a lot of their roles, quite different from that in Australia. So it'll be really interesting just to get a feel on that first day for how the health service works. We want you to give you a little bit of a language lesson back at the hotel as well, and then take you out to a restaurant so you can get just try a few different types of Nepali food, see if you can find something that you like a bit of, and you can go for the rest of the couple of weeks. Next day, we want to take you to a paediatric hospital, and again, similar to the day before, just get you seeing a different kind of setting, learning how they do things, seeing the types of conditions people have, talking about the different kinds of outcomes they can expect, the reasons why these conditions are quite prevalent. So we want you to be quite proactive at the settings, and then in the afternoon, we'll be going with an eye specialist to one of the schools and perhaps doing some eye tests. So getting you involved, organising the kids, doing the tests with them, and really feeling like you're actually doing something in the country as well. Similar on the Wednesday morning, we're aiming to get you into a different school and doing some first aid education. Now we'll talk about the subjects. Our local guy will talk about what sort of stuff to be covered. We don't expect you to be doing like a full-on Red Cross first aid day, but just simple things perhaps the kids and the teachers can learn. That might be about, well, you can decide, but it might be about, if somebody's banged their head, for example, or if somebody's had a fall, or if somebody might look at resuscitation, and you might look at just wound dressing, or any sort of things like that. Our staff will talk to you about that. Nicole will have plenty of ideas as well, I imagine, and yeah, you can come up with some practical things which are good, and you can have different stations, for example. So 2 or 3 of you might be doing one activity with a bunch of kids, and 2 or 3 of you might be doing different activities with other kids, so the kids can then move around your stations. So we'll leave it to you to think about how it might work, but our guys will have lots of input. It's something we do quite regularly at different schools there. And then that's going to be pretty full on and tiring, so we want you to see a little bit of culture as well. So we take you to the big Budnath temple in the afternoon, so you'll see a little bit more of the city, see a little bit more of culture, perhaps get a chance just to relax a bit and just soak up what's happened the last couple of days. Quite full on. On the Thursday, the 2 centres you'll visit there are pretty much next door to each other. These are really wonderful centres, quite confronting. So when you some of the challenges of this placement are coming to terms with the things that you see, and particularly the nutritional rehabilitation centre. The kids and their mums who are cared for there are often, particularly when they're admitted, and quite badly emaciated. It's really quite awful to see the conditions that they're in, but it's a really well managed, really well run centre that is proactive about trying to reduce the incidence of malnutrition in the country, which is vast. It's huge across Nepal. It's a massive problem through poverty, but also as much like through ignorance. You have very young mums there who don't understand what's good nutrition for their kids and aren't able necessarily to cook very nutritious meals. But yeah, it's a very heartening place as well, because you see the kids who have been there for 6 or 7 weeks and they're ready to go back to home, and they do get follow-ups into the places they live as well from the staff at the centre. You see that they are really really getting fit and healthy there as well. But you see an awful lot of other things to consider there as well. So for these kids, their development in lots of ways is often way behind where you'd expect kids of a similar age to be in Australia, because they've been so badly nourished throughout their young lives. So it's a bit confronting and challenging, but it's also heartening in a way to see people who really do care, who are professional about things, how they manage things. So it'd be great to be involved there. And it's similarly the HIV centre, where you'll have the opportunity, similar to with the malnutrition centre as well, to talk to some of the parents there, talk to the staff, learn about why HIV is a big problem in Nepal. I think obviously it's a vast problem around the world, but I think different countries have different reasons why it's a big issue. And if you can learn a bit more about the how people the contraction of the virus, learn about the stigma attached to it in Nepal and stuff like that. So just get a much broader kind of environmental, public health kind of feel about that as well. So lots of opportunity to talk to the guys there, and hopefully some chance to interact with the kids there as well, and to see how the centre works. So yeah, I think you'll find that a really fulfilling day. It's a really wonderful place. On the Friday, so we want to get you out to one of the schools again. That's generally where we do a lot of the health promotion and health checkups. It's hard to do it in different parts of the community because everybody's out working, whether it's picking rice, which you'll see quite a lot of that in the places we go to, which generally on the edges of Kathmandu, where it starts to turn into a little bit of greenery. You see a lot of paddy fields around there and a lot of people working in those fields. So it's quite hard to get to do any other community setting. So schools tend to be where we go. If we can drag some parents in as well, that's fantastic. But the kids at the schools will really benefit from from some health promotion around nutrition, for example, or hygiene. We'll go down with a local dentist as well and do some checkups, and you can assist with that as well. So a bit of variety in what we're doing as well. Big highlight of the trip is the weekend. We'll take you on the bumpy road that Duncan talked about up to Pokhara, which is a city, kind of underneath the mountains of the Annapurna range. So it's a pretty spectacular and iconic setting. Really great place to go. It's a good sort of holiday town. Lots of shops, bars, restaurants, lots of outdoor activities to do on the big lake there. Around about, lots of sightseeing and stuff. So everyone has a good time up there, nice and relaxing. I'll show you a couple of pictures later, which I kind of skipped over quickly, just so you can get a feel for it. But with a bit of luck on the clear days, you should really be able to see some just stunning snow-capped mountain tops, the massively high mountains, 6,000 meters and stuff, huge things. So we take you on the bus up there. It's great to see the countryside, but getting the bus up is is enough. Getting the bus back is a little bit tedious, so we will be booking flights, the internal flights for you to get back on the Monday morning. That was included in the fee that you paid to the university, so that's all covered. Our local guys will be looking after that, and that flight takes half an hour, 3/4 of an hour rather than 6 hours on the bus, so you'll be pretty glad you did that. And we'll try and get back to the hotel before lunch. And then in the afternoon, just do something a little bit gentle back on the program, possibly at one of the schools again, or possibly just doing a few little tuition things, little exercises and stuff with some of the local professionals there. In the past, sort of groups have just had little suturing workshops, for example, which might be interesting. So you don't want to work you too hard and stuff on that Monday afternoon, but it'd be good to get something done. Tuesday again, sort of outreach time on the schools, and these are the days when you really are running things, so it's great to do that. The Wednesday is back to being a little bit more of the sort of observational stuff. We go to a disability care centre, which provides daycare, sort of respite for the parents, but daycare for the kids that go there. And it's also acts as an education centre as well. So all the kids have got different abilities and capacity. Conditions are quite varied. Cerebral palsy is probably one of the most prevalent conditions there in different degrees. So you'll get a chance to really sort of talk to the staff there, talk to some of the parents there, perhaps interact with some of the kids as well and help with some of the activities they're doing well. But one of the things that people really find is a bit of a highlight, some of the home visits. So for some of the families that live quite nearby, we'll take small groups of you to visit the homes and to talk to the parents there. And they're generally pretty happy about that. It's kind of assisting, helping the knowledge of how the centre can best support them and their kids, if you like. So we want you to, obviously you'll do it with a great deal of sort of empathy, I suppose, and sensitivity. But I think one of the things that I really get from when I've been to Nepal, and I consider just, the challenges of having a wheelchair and having someone living with disability in the family, and just see the sort of facilities that are there. When you see the potholes in the road, there's no ramps anywhere, and the difficulties, there's so many little difficulties that you take into account. So I think just trying to put yourself in their position would be, it's quite an enlightening experience and very humbling one as well. That day as well, we like running the cooking lessons. There's Duncan will talk about them in a moment, but they're sort of Nepalese dumplings. We'll do little lessons, help showing you how to make these Nepalese dumplings, and they're just like a national addiction. They're very, 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 very tasty and extremely Moorish. So we'll get you cooking those and then having those for your dinner. Thursday, a visit to Bhaktapur Cancer Hospital. Bhaktapur is a small town, maybe about half an hour drive away from Kathmandu. It's actually a national United Nations heritage listed town. It's got a square full of temples. It's really stunning. So you'll see that. That's the Durbar Square, but also spend a bit of time in the cancer hospital learning about how they work again, similar to your hospital visits in the previous week. And that's a pretty full-on schedule. The last day happens to be a public holiday, Constitution Day, I think. And so on that day when schools will be closed, hospitals will be quiet, they do take the public holidays very seriously in Nepal, and there are many, many of them over the course of the year. So we're going to take to Nagarkot, which is a sort of little hill town, a little bit out of Kathmandu, which has got some nice stunning views across the Kathmandu Valley and up towards the mountains, a little bit of a hike and stuff, and just generally having a nice day out in the countryside, I think. And then we want to have a debrief with you, how you've gone, and have a bit of a farewell dinner before you either carry on with your plans on the Saturday, or it's time to get back to yet another placement back in Australia. So that was it. Yeah, a bit quite varied, lots of different settings, as much doing as we can fit into it, along with quite a lot of watching and learning as well. So hopefully that balance is right, and it'll give you a lot of different insights, a lot of opportunity to engage, and yeah, a lot of fun, as well as a lot of learning in there. Right, that's my voice croaking up a little bit. Might just flip over to Nicole just to see if she's got anything to add on that. It's okay if there's not a lot there, Nicole, but give you the chance anyway.
And the only other thing I was going to mention is, may I please be part of the Facebook page?
I'm sure that'll be fine, Nicole. Yeah, absolutely.
Just thinking, I'd love to be part of the communication, the correspondence. And so then with regards to whilst we're away, are we able to, so the photographs, are they shared with other people, or is it a closed group, or so do we advocate? Sorry, go on.
Yeah, sorry, there's two good questions there. The Facebook group is a closed group, I think. So it actually looks like it's all the NSG3 a group for all of them. So everybody who's in the September groups going to Nepal, third-year students are in there. So there's a bit of dialogue going on there, but it's good. Yeah, we'll probably do a little bit more. But yeah, there's plenty of interesting stuff on there so far, and quite a few people engage with it. When you talk about the photographs, one of the things our local staff will talk about is photograph policy. There, we do have a policy which is based on two things really. One of them is sort of child protection issues, how they impinge on photography, and the other one is just keeping everything going in a straight line. Because if everybody brings out cameras and phones at the schools all the time, then nothing will get done. The kids will just lose it. They love photographs. They love seeing themselves on the screen, and so yeah, it will find times for everyone to take photographs. And then other times we'll be sort of strongly suggesting, look guys, we're not going to get anything done here as long as these kids are distracted by getting their face on a screen. So we'll talk about that, sort of the child protection elements of it and stuff, and what's appropriate and not appropriate photos, and also about the practicalities of it. But yeah, and then I guess what would be really great, which I'm struggling with a little bit, which would make life really easy this year, is if people really did stick a load of photos up on the Facebook group, particularly of what you're wearing at placement, and then so we can show that to future groups, because a lot of the past groups, when I look on the old Facebook pages, nobody's put any blinking photographs up there, so I can't just say this is what you wear at placement. Yeah, that'd be great to have some photos up on the group, and it'd probably be good for the groups that follow, who are also in that page as well. So for your first group, Nicole, if you stick some photos up for for the groups that are coming the week after and the week after that, be awesome. Excellent, thank you. Right, I'll crack on. So probably time for Duncan, who's been there more recently, just to talk a little bit, a bit about food, and then some of the other stuff like money again, and just some of the other practicalities of being there. So we'll take that towards the last few thoughts for the placement. So I'll just hand over to Duncan, and I'll catch up with you a little bit later.
The bottom right are momos. I miss momos already. they're like Will said, they're just so Moorish. They look like regular dumplings, but I don't know what the Nepali people put in their momos, but they're so addictive. They're amazing. So those two pictures you can see there, you've got the dal bhat in the top. It's part of a thali set there. So the dal translates to lentils, and bhat translates to rice, so lentils and rice. But within a thali set, they usually have the sag, which is the spinach, the cooked spinach there, and then like a vegetable curry, and then a spicy sauce as well. So there's dal bhat, and then there's momos. Momos are usually veg, but you can get chicken momos as well. These two are probably a staple of Nepal, but because you guys are going to be staying at Prince Hotel and then also Thewa Hotel as well, they're going to be putting on like a buffet dinner for you guys most nights with 4 to 5 different options. They're very, very good to us. They do try and give us a lot of the kind of local delicacies, but then appreciate that some people might have a bit more of a difficult time adjusting to a different type of food. So they try and put some Western food in there as well. My advice, and this is probably somewhat biased because I love food and experience different food, is don't have too high expectations for the Western options they have. Normally it's just going to be like French fries, and maybe they'll try a bit of spaghetti. They'll just cook some pasta and put some tomato sauce on it and call it spaghetti. But I absolutely love the food there as well. One thing I did want to mention particularly is they are a hotel, and they do have a bunch of different things that they can arrange for us to have as well. But if no one says anything about the dinner, then they're not going to change anything. So please don't consider it rude or something to have a couple of questions about the food. All they're going to do is give you some other options. Maybe that's something you can chat to your supervisor about and just see if we can mix it up a little bit. The other thing as well is Nepali people like their spice, so it's pretty important wherever you go to say not spicy, or could you just put the spicy sauce on the side and I'll choose what level of burning I want to have in my mouth and my throat, because I do love their spice over there. It's very easy to be vegetarian. I'm not sure how many people here have any kind of dietary requirements, vegan or vegetarian or anything like that. Meat can be quite scarce on occasion. In that photo that's on the screen there's actually no meat there whatsoever. It's all completely vegetarian. Those momos, that pattern, are the vegetarian ones as well. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of rice and veggies, or noodles and veggies, and then of course the momos as well. Now that's what I mentioned about the variety as well. Make sure you are asking the hotel staff to, if you want something changed. But on top of the eating at the hotel, we are going to arrange a few meals out as well. So there's a few really good local restaurants that we try and take our groups to. So it's not just going to be too mundane. You don't have to expect to eat the same thing every day. We're going to be quite varied in what you guys are eating. Now on to the money side of things. I did touch on this briefly before. I just want to mention here's the notes as well. Now you'll see that these are quite kind of crumpled. These notes are actually in quite good condition. Do not be surprised if the notes that you get back has changed from shops are in very, very poor condition. You can still exchange them, or you can use them to buy things. It's completely fine. One thing that's not okay is US money or foreign money that looks in the same condition as this. If you want to exchange money, like if you're going to take some US dollars over with you, they need to be in pristine condition, and they need to be after, I think it's 2013, I think. Otherwise, they just won't accept them. But just on the money as well and collecting it, a lot of people do like to be quite prepared before they head over. Should I get some local currency here in Australia so I have some when I arrive? First of all, I'm not sure that's even possible, because I think it's illegal to take Nepali rupees outside of Nepal. So that's one good reason not to do it. But the other reason is you just don't really need to. There's no chance there for you even really to spend any money until you're in the company of our staff who are picking you up from the airport. And the first thing that we can do is take you straight to an ATM where you can get some money out anyway. So if you are one of those people that likes to be quite prepared, just wants to have a little bit of money on you, I'd recommend just getting some US dollars. You can pay for things in US dollars, but it's not a good idea because they'll charge you at a higher rate because the US dollar is worth so much more than the Nepali rupee. With ATMs, I think I've touched on this briefly, but it can be quite an expensive to keep withdrawing money. So normally we'd recommend just to withdraw that, depending on how much money you're planning to spend, that $100 to $200 worth of rupee just in one transaction. And so just to save those fees of withdrawing over and over again. And now if you want to be prepared and you want to take some US dollars with you, again, that's completely fine. There's a lot of places that it's very, very easy to change into the local currency. So what I'll do now is I'll just move on to the language side of things as well, and just the impact of knowing a few phrases in Nepali. Don't be too stressed about this. With most of the people that you need to communicate with, they'll have some level of English, or you'll have our staff there to translate for you. But it is actually quite a nice kind of almost like an icebreaker if you can at least attempt some of the local language. It shows that you're not just some stuck-up Westerner who thinks that everyone should be speaking English. It shows that you're interested in their culture and their language. And especially for the children. So this was mainly my job for the last 2 months, was working with children in the local schools. And when you try and speak in their language, and then you ask them what their name is and things like that, you are going to get it wrong, and they're going to think it's hilarious. They think it's so funny. So it's a very good icebreaker. So just things like namaste. I'm sure many of you already heard of that before. It's just a simple hello. That is very important. It's a sign of respect when you meet new people. So you just give them a namaste, and then apart from that, that's all you really need. If you want to learn maybe thank you, is dhanyabad, that's a good idea. And then maybe if you can try and learn your numbers from 1 to 10. If you are interested in learning a little bit of the language, there is an app we recommend. It's World Nomads. You can just download it. It's free. That's just one of many really good apps as well that you can certainly use. So please don't feel obliged to learn too much of the local language, but it can go quite a long way with the local people to show that kind of effort. Okay, I think that's going to be all from me, guys. There's no questions coming through on the chat, but please remember that I am here to answer questions too. So if you do have any questions, pop them in the chat and we can answer them for you. But I think that's it for me. I'm going to hand back over to Will, and I hope you'll have a fantastic time. I know it'll leave a lasting impression on you, just as it has with me. Thank you.
Thanks again, Duncan. Yeah, so just for the last minute or so, guys. Thanks for getting this far through the talk. I think one of the big determinants of how successful a placement you're going to have is the attitude that you take with you. And I'm sure I'm sure this is nothing new to you guys. But just a few requests, a few suggestions, I guess. Top of that list is be proactive. You'll find the people in Nepal are charming and polite, but not very assertive. So if you are stood at a placement leaning on the wall, not doing very much, then the local staff are going to assume that that's what you're happiest doing in the world. So if you want to be involved, then you need to be asking questions, asking if you can help in any way. Yeah, just being involved and getting yourself around the place. I think being passive is not the great way to squeeze the most out of this placement. Not being overly assertive, but just being a little bit assertive. The proactive side of assertive, I think, is what we're pushing at. I'm sure you know how to do that in a polite and sensitive way, but a way that lets everybody know that you're keen to help, keen to be involved, keen to know what's going on. Nicole put it beautifully, I think, earlier, when she said, like, it's not right, it's not wrong, it's just different. And Nepal is extremely different. Sometimes you'll find things can be a little bit frustrating. Sometimes you'll find things can be incredibly frustrating, surprising, confronting, bewildering, confusing, any of these and many more. So I think the thing to do is just to roll with it. Nepal is as Nepal is. It's wonderful for those reasons, and you'll enjoy it much more if you just roll with it and take a sense of humor, look for the laugh in any sort of situation, and be ready for Nepal to do things to you. Just as a bit of an example, last year, I think, or possibly the year before, one of the groups from Latrobe was there, and the government decided that the next day was going to be a public holiday. So they were there on a Wednesday. We had placement lined up for the Thursday, and it came on the news. Government said public holiday next day. So nobody needs to go to work. Nobody needs to go to school. Oh, great. Okay, so we've changed all our plans around. That sort of thing happens in Nepal. A couple of hours later, the government's cancelled the public holiday, so everything's back on again. So that's the kind of thing that happens in Nepal. So if you've got a sense of humour with you and you're ready to use that rather than drive yourself crazy, then I think you'll go an awful lot better. And just for settling in at the placements, Duncan talked about language. I think it's a great compliment to the people if you try a little bit of the language, no matter how bad you are. They know you're trying. But if you travel with a smile and you smile when you meet people, and just be a good ambassador for Australia, a good ambassador for the university, and someone who's sort of outwardly happy and pleased to be there, and just really wanting to find out exactly what Nepal's got to offer and learn as much about it as possible and take as many great memories home with you as possible, I think you'll be really popular travellers there. Yeah, it's it's a wonderful place, and I'm sure you'll have a wonderful time. And if you go about it the right way, you'll have an even more wonderful time. Just in closing off, Nicole, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I just look forward very much to meeting you guys on the Saturday or the Sunday that you arrive. And it's just going to be a wonderful learning opportunity for all of us. And we're not going to save the world, but we're just going to go in there and see things differently. It'll be a very humbling experience for all of us. And yeah, again, it's not right, it's not wrong, it's just different. Thanks, Will.
Beautifully done again, Nicole. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, and just finally, before we finish off, just one thing I would really like to echo, and this is probably coming back from our local staff in Nepal as much as anything. Don't suffer in silence, whether it's your health or whether it's the diet or whether it's just stuff you don't understand. Just ask. We've got full-time members of staff there. They work for us all year round in Nepal. They have students coming all year round. The thing that frustrates them the most is when people complain about something on their sort of questionnaire at the end of it that they didn't know anything about. So if anything can be changed, they'll change it. They're miracle workers. It's what they do every single day. They kind of make Nepal make sense, and they make things work in Nepal. So that puts them on a higher plane of skills than most people that I know. So if there's anything you're not sure about, confused about, worried about, concerned about, ask. They'll be a lot happier that you asked. Even if you think you're being a bit of a pain in the backside, they'll be a lot happier they asked, because they can fix it. When they find out that it's, on the questionnaire there's something that wasn't working for you, they just say, I wish they'd told us. So don't suffer in silence. Our guys are there to help, and yeah, everyone will be happy if you just let everyone know how you're feeling. So thanks again for getting this far. Wish you all the very best on your time in Nepal, and between now and takeoff, any questions, anytime, just give us an email, give us a call at the office, that's fine. Stick something on Facebook, and yeah, good luck, all the best. Thanks again.